There you go.
Other
All
than
right,
that,
it's 8:33. We are going to get started today. What's today's day? Monday, February the 23rd, 2026. Welcome to the Health Hub with Dr. T. As you guys know, I'm Dr. T. I want to give my disclaimer. I didn't give it last week, so forgive me. My disclaimer is whatever you hear on this live or you hear during this platform or with any of my lives is general informational only. So if you have specific questions for yourself or your loved ones and some one-on-ones, please reach out to our speakers directly. They will give you a way to contact them. But here is just general information. So with that being said, I have my friend. I can say I don't know how long we've been friends for. I don't even remember how we met. I think through your husband.
no, I think it was
No?
before that.
Oh, okay. I don't even remember
I
how,
think it
but
was, yeah, I think it was from the Telefusis.
from this, oh wow, that's far
See?
back.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. So
Yeah.
she is my friend, and she is like we don't talk often, but when we talk, we relate to each other. And so she goes by what? Legally Uzo.
Legally
And you've
Uzo.
seen her everywhere. Mokolo Law Firm everywhere. I'm going to give you a chance to introduce yourself. Let us know a little bit about who you are, what you specialize in, and then we're going to get right into it.
Okay. Well, y'all, I'm Uzo Mokolo. I am the principal and CEO of Mokolo Law Firm. We practice primarily family and immigration law in the Houston area. We have 3 offices in Houston, which is the main office, and we have an office in Sugar Land, and we also have an office in San Antonio. Um, yeah, I've been practicing for about 15 years. I've had my law firm for about 15 years.
Wow.
And I think what we pride ourselves with the law firm is we're very customer centric. We communicate with our clients, we put our clients first, and we're always prepared.
Okay, thank you for that. And if you guys aren't following her page, Legally Uzo or Mokolo Law Firm, she drops so much knowledge that I even I think you've educated me much more than you think that you have. And so we're gonna get right into it. So some of the questions I'm asking, I don't want you to be like, now you know we've talked about this, and I am coming from a place of the people. I am representing the people. So I want to go basic. I want to start basic. Like,
Okay.
what is immigration? What is status? What is green card? What is, for some people who were born and raised here and were privileged to not have to go through that process, may not understand what that process entails. However, they may have loved ones or friends or colleagues who are saying, hey, I'm trying to get my citizenship or whatever the case may be. How would you inform someone or educate someone between the differences between green card, permanent residence, status, and all of that?
Okay, so in general, when you come to the United States, when you come into the United States with a visa or with status. When you don't come in with status, that means you came in through the border. Normally, when you have status, it could be based off of just a non-immigrant visa. That means you came in to visit, or you came in for school, or you came in for work, for example. That's status. With that being said, you can change your status to that of a green card holder. And that's usually through family or through an employer. Those are the main ones. As a green card, you're basically saying that you are a permanent resident in the United States, and from then, it gives you a pathway to become a US citizen. And then you're a naturalized US citizen. You're a US citizen just like anyone that was born here in the United States, even though with our current administration, they're trying to change all of that. But you have the same rights as, people that are born here in the United States.
Okay. Well, you said that process and you said it fast. And I don't think the process is that fast, right? How
No, not at
long
all.
does that take? Like you come in, let's say, for example, and I can say based on friends and loved ones that has come in through school, they had a school visa, right? And they come in and afterwards, is them trying to get a work visa or whatever the case may be. Up until potential citizenship, how long does it typically take?
So it really depends. I mean, it depends on your path, and it could take years. And when I say years, I'm saying average, maybe two years or more. So I can go with the normal path, which is maybe you come in with an F1, you meet a U.S. citizen, you get married. Then you guys file what we call an adjustment of status. So you file, and I'm going to just throw those numbers out there. You file what we call an I-130 petition with an I-485, which is the green card application. You ask for work authorization while it is pending. So the average is about 2 years. I think
Okay.
that's safe to say. During the Biden administration, I mean, we were getting this within 4 to 6 months, but
Wow.
obviously that's changed.
Wow. Okay, two. But okay, we'll come back to that. We'll come back
For
to that.
a spousal base, when we're
Okay.
talking about, I came here when I was 8. When I came here when I was 16, I'm waiting for my parents to adjust my status. That's a
Mhm.
totally different ballgame.
Okay. So I do watch 90 Day Fiance.
Okay.
And I'm like, I get it, where they have to get married in wherever the origin is, then come here. They have 90 days to get married. And once they get married, they're able to change their status. Is that real? Like, is that
Yes.
how it goes?
Yeah, that's exactly how it goes.
Oh, okay.
So they meet they meet their fiance. They have to meet each other. There's some, it depends, but they
Okay.
have to meet each other before you bring them here as your fiance, and you guys have 90 days to get married. And once you guys get married, then you can file for the green card, and then
So
they're permanent residents.
okay. So when let's say I want to bring my spouse over from wherever, right? Um, what is the process like? I do hear a little bit about how you have to have enough money in your account to be able to take care of them. Like, are you truly legally responsible for them, or is it really, oh, I went there, we're engaged, I can bring them over? Like, what are the legal standards? Because I'm hearing, oh, you have to take care of them for 10 years. You have to give them room, board. I'm like, 10
You
years?
do. I
Wow.
mean, you're telling the United States that you are sponsoring this person, right? So you're responsible for them for 10 years and or till they become US citizens. When they become US citizens, then they're good, but you are responsible for them.
Oh,
So that is
wow.
part of the contract. You're saying you're bringing this person from wherever to come into the United States. We're in love, all of those things. There's a contract to the US government. You have to sign a piece of paper saying that you are responsible for these people, and they're not, or this person is not going to be what we call a ward of the state. They're not going to be on food stamps. They're not going to be on the
Hmm.
streets. You will take care of them.
Oh, that's a big responsibility.
Well, that's your husband. That is a responsibility.
I'm gonna need him to be my husband first before I
but
sign that.
but see, no, but that's not for the 90 days. That's for, you bringing the person here as your husband. Now, here in the United States, you still have to sign that. But I mean, that person is your fiance. You just married them. So that's the
Oh,
next step.
wow. Okay. So let's say now we're gonna do scenarios today, because I'm going based on what I've heard on the outside, right?
Mhm.
Let's say go to school, come out great. I found a company that says, "Hey, we love what you're doing. You'll be a great asset to us. We can make this work. We would love to sponsor you," right? What happens? Let's say you're like, "Great, this is good," and then halfway through, the company says, "You know what, JK, I don't want to sponsor you anymore."
Happens all
What
the time.
happens? It
You either
happens all
find
the
another,
time.
it happens all the time. It's business. So you either find another company that's going to sponsor you within a certain amount of time, or you have to leave.
Can you go back to school?
Yes, you can. You can adjust your
Okay.
status.
So you
Yes.
can
Not
always
adjust your
be
status. Sorry. You can change your status and you can go back to school.
okay.
But
So
of
I can
course,
be a
you going back to
professional student.
school, meaning you can afford to go back to school.
Yeah.
So that's another ball game as well. You're saying, okay, let's just say you're going to go get your master's or your second or third master's. You still have to be able to afford that.
True. True. Oh
So
my goodness. So
and
that's
show
a lot.
proof
Huh?
and show proof that you can afford it.
Oh. Okay. Because I have heard of people having multiple masters and going for their doctorate and going for more. So that's in order for them to maintain their status here.
Yes.
Okay. Who? So can you do anything to the company that promises you and says, hey, you promised me this, therefore I wasn't looking elsewhere. And now it's like a breach of contract. Can I sue?
I don't do employment law, but
If you're an
immigration, they do
employment lawyer,
it.
drop your credentials here.
They do it all the time. They do it all
Really?
the
And they're
time.
allowed to do that.
They're allowed to do it. It's almost like, think about it this way. If you were to marry a U.S. citizen, right? And you decide not marry a U.S. citizen, sorry, marry a non-immigrant, and you want to adjust their status. I mean, you guys, things happen. You guys can get divorced. Now, can they sue you? Yes, they can actually. For
Who can sue who?
your 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 LPR, your green card holder husband can sue you because you did say that you were going to support them for 10 years.
And so now you can sue me and I have to now take care of you for those 10 years.
Yes, per se.
That is
Yes.
that is wild.
Does that normally happen? No.
Okay.
But yes,
Because
they can.
I would be scared to sue if I'm not a citizen. I am not going to the court of law to try to sue anybody.
So this is what happens. So for us, because I do family and immigration, that's part
Mhm.
of what I actually plead for. If the non-immigrant is my client, I will put that in my pleadings. I will put, and then we can negotiate that. So we can negotiate it when it comes to the property, community estate, things like that. Because you did make those
So
promises. That's why you hire a family attorney that knows immigration laws.
smart. So when should, if someone who was an immigrant looking for change of status, should they automatically have a lawyer? Should, if you're going through this process, is it obviously is I feel like it's always smart to have a lawyer, but
Yes.
maybe not everyone can afford one. But at
Yes.
what point would you say, hey, you know what, I think this person should get a lawyer at this stage to ensure that things move a little bit smoother? Thank you.
So for me, I would say you should get a lawyer, especially in this day and age.
Okay.
So in this day and age, and especially if you're from one of the 75, banned countries, you should definitely get a lawyer. And Nigerians are.
Yes.
So I just feel like things go smoother when you hire someone that knows what they're doing.
Right.
And then also it's faster.
Mm.
You're not dealing with what we call request for evidence because you don't know what you're doing. Things that seem common sense to you might not be
Mhm.
common sense to USCIS. At the end of the day, immigration is being people filing their papers right now, they're being very scrutinized. It's just better for you to hire an attorney because it's more expensive later on. I get hired all the time for me to fix things and it's more expensive
Right.
then. Or if
Right.
at that point you are in immigration, you are now in removal proceedings. So you're facing
Mhm.
deportation. That's more expensive for years.
So can you fight that though?
Yeah,
If
you can fight
somebody
it.
is, you can fight it?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Half my
So,
practice, well, half my immigration practice is removal.
oh wow.
Yeah.
If for change of status, what are the options? I know marriage is one. Um, marriage is two. Marriage is
Marriage,
three.
employment,
Employment.
those are the main ones. Of course, there's asylum.
So
That
yes. So asylum literally means that like, hey, I'm never going back there. I don't want anything to do with them anymore. I don't want to go back to my country. Or what is asylum and who can file for asylum?
so any non-immigrant, if you come into the United States and you are facing persecution in your home country, you can file for
Mhm.
asylum.
Okay.
Now you got to prove that persecution as well, and the fact that hey, I can't go back, and if I go back, I face X, Y, and Z. You have to prove that. Asylum is actually really hard for people to get. I know that's the first thing a lot of non-immigrants actually file, but it's actually pretty hard. And if you're not able to, if your asylum is not granted, then you get thrown into removal proceedings. You're in front of an immigration judge in order for you to prove your case.
Oh, wow. What does prove your case mean? So you go in charge or in front of an immigration judge, and you're just kind of letting them know, like,
Why they
why.
should grant you this asylum.
What
Why
is
in So let me give you an example. Why you live in Lagos, you file for asylum, why you can't go back to Nigeria based off of past persecution, i.e., maybe Boko Haram, for example.
right?
And you know what the response is? You can move somewhere else. You don't have to be, quote unquote, you're in Lagos, right? You've never been in the north. You can move here, you can move to Imo State, you can move here. So why should we give you asylum based off of what's going on, quote unquote, in the north?
Oh, wow. So what are the chances of them? Well, okay, so outside of asylum, so someone talked about there's an option for those being mistreated in marriage. Can you do that too? If we let's go back to marriage. Let's say you bring someone here and you guys are on the up and up
Mhm.
and things go left. Let's say, for example, there's physical abuse, or you don't feel safe, you don't feel like this is not the person that I brought. Can you petition for that person to leave? Can you petition for them to say, hey, I know I signed this contract that I would take care of this person, however, this is what I'm going through? Is there a way to say they came in under false pretense, whatever the case may be, I'm being mistreated, I need to let them go? What are the, like, is that even an option?
It depends on what stage. So the first thing, first things first is you bring them in. If you guys just got married, that means that in order they have what we call a conditional green card. So they have to be a green card holder for 2 years. After that, then you can lift that condition, and then they can get their 10-year green card, because is conditioned because they need to make sure that this is truly a marriage in good faith, that you guys are still together, all of those things, right? If you're within the bounds of that, then that means you have to sign their conditions. You have to sign the paperwork to lift those conditions. If you guys are already having problems, then you don't have to. They
Right.
have to figure out a way, which there's a waiver for them, but they have to figure out a way.
Wow. Someone said, what if it's the brought person being mistreated?
Then
Oh,
there's a pathway. So if they already have a green card, but it's a conditional green card, then they can ask for a waiver. And because of abuse, but they still also have to prove that this was a marriage. I entered into this marriage because I love this person. Here's proof of our lives together. We would still be together, but for X, Y, and Z, them, mistreating me, or you just have to explain that to USCIS. And you also have to explain that, there's an extreme hardship for you to be brought back to or sent back to your home country.
so that's not an automatic deportation. So let's say
No.
someone comes here and it's like, you came here under false pretense. You used me to get here. Let's call it what it is. You used me to get here. Now you're here. You're doing whatever it is that you want to do. I don't want to be with you anymore. Can I file something to say, hey, he tricked me or she tricked me and brought me here, and now I don't like, this is not going to work? Can that happen? And can they be deported
Yeah,
back?
you can send a letter to USCIS. I
Okay.
mean, I get calls about that all the time. I was like, I don't do that. I'm not in the business of doing that, but you
Right.
can definitely send a letter to USCIS, either pulling whatever you filed for them or just letting them know that this person did trick you.
But you have to prove that they tricked you.
Kind of.
Okay.
Because a lot of
I,
times people just send the letter and then they send whatever proof that they have. So it depends on where this person is in their immigration journey. Sometimes that gets brought up if they're going in front, if, for example, they're trying to get citizenship.
right.
Those documents are dug up and that person's going to have to answer to it.
I want to ask many questions, but I'm like, okay. Bring your questions in, you guys, because I want to understand both sides. I want to understand those that bring someone in and those that get brought in, because I have heard of the abuse and, mm, you know mistreatment happening on both ends. Edit 78, hi Edit. He said there seems to be a silent stigma and potential trauma associated with going through the immigration process. Do you have any advice or thoughts on how to deal with this community? Oh, I mean, communally. That's a good question.
So
People are embarrassed to talk about it. People are, I think they almost, while you think about your answer, I think there is a stigma of I brought my husband or I brought my wife from
mhm,
another country and no
mhm,
one wants to talk about
I
it.
know.
And I think the lack of talking about it creates lack of awareness and then we make stupid mistakes and then we're looking for Mokolo Law Firm to come
I think
help
that's
us.
the issue. We need to be able to talk about it. I think at this point, there's a lot of information out there. There
Right,
are a lot of people that, on YouTube or Instagram, social media, there's a lot of information out there. But I think,
right.
unfortunately, if we're really talking about the Nigerian community, we just don't talk about a lot of our, issues. We think there's a stigma or there's some sort of a shame if you don't have status. Because of that, we don't talk to other people. You'd be surprised, the next person is going through the same thing that you're going through and could give you some advice or could refer you to an attorney that has helped them. So I don't know what to do about our community, the fact that we don't talk about our issues in that way.
I mean, I think this is step one, right? Talking about
Yeah.
it now, because you'll be so surprised how someone goes for so long being single and not in a relationship, and then they pop up with a wife, and it's like, oh, how does that work?
Also with that, where people don't want to tell other people that they brought X, Y, and Z here, it's because they don't want to be judged. They
Yeah,
don't want anyone to say, "Oh, are you sure? Are you sure this
correct.
person isn't using you?"
Yeah,
Or, "Oh, wow, you couldn't find anybody here in the United States and you had to go all the way abroad to bring X, Y." I think they just don't want that judgment.
right, right. And I think we need to do better, right? Because some way, somehow, for us, we all got here some way, somehow, right? Whether it's through our parents that
Parents.
employment or marriage or whatever the case may be. And I've seen both. I've seen an acquaintance of mine bring her spouse from another country and I mean has done amazing. Like I'm just like in awe, right? And then I've seen the other way where someone brings somebody else, not necessarily from Lagos, Nigeria, from like other places. And it is like a nightmare. It's like, so many tactics. So I think this is step one of talking about it. I think if we inform them on how to do it the right way, then hopefully they know how to kind of judge it and know, okay, you know what, these are the red flags, these are the green flags. With that being said, since you've been doing this for such a long time, what are some, I guess, red flags that you would say are red flags if someone were to say, I'm bringing someone from another country, right? I know one that I've heard of, and that person was like, I don't like America. I don't want America. I'm not. And I was like, that's a red flag. Who don't want better life? I'm like, who does not want,
I don't know if
the
that's
land of the
I don't
free?
know if that is a red flag, because I mean sometimes people understand. People understand that when you come here, you're starting
Mhm.
from scratch.
True.
So, I mean, in that aspect, it depends on what the other people are doing, right? Or what that person's doing. Or some
Mhm.
people have been in and out of America since they were kids. They have visas. They come here, they vacation, they
Mhm.
know what it's like to start afresh in the United States. They don't want any parts of that.
Right.
So I have seen that, but I think the biggest red flag for me would be you sending them money constantly. I think to me, you've already spent money on your. I'm not. I mean, I know I know our community. We do for each other. I do
Yeah.
understand that, but always being asked for money for mom, for dad, for everyone. I think to me that is one of the biggest red flags, because what are they doing? And also
Mm.
understanding. I mean, when we're getting married, are we equally yoked? I get it that you're going to come into the United States and maybe there's some things you're going to have to go back to school. You're going to have to start afresh. But what are they doing in Nigeria?
Mm.
I mean, you see doctors bringing, people that don't really have much education. I mean, what did you think was going to happen when you brought them here? Because you could
True.
still see the hustle. No
Right.
matter what, I know it's Nigeria, but you could see some hustle. When you come here, you have a certain lifestyle. I mean, when are they going to be able to, quote unquote, not give you the lifestyle, but
Right, right, right.
yeah,
Meet those standards. I agree. I think in one of the instances that I know of one bringing the other from another country, what was said was that they were splitting the money equally, meaning that the person here paid for the lawyer here did all the things here. The person there paid for their stuff, and that way money it wasn't like, oh, I'm the one bringing you, but we're both working, we're both putting money into it, and that way it's equal,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Turned out that that wasn't the case. Turned out that the person there did not put a single cent down, and the
yeah.
person here was literally just pouring out all the money, all the resources, only for them to be here and be like, well, I didn't really want to be here. So money is a big thing. I
Hmm.
feel like money, when someone can put money down, that means that, it's, they care for you. I hate to say it. That means
And it
that,
doesn't have to. It doesn't have to equate to the same amount of money that you're putting
right,
down, because we do
right,
understand. I mean, we have dollars and we're
right,
looking at naira. It doesn't have,
right,
but at least try.
right. Absolutely. So let's talk about immigration and divorce. We're going to talk about immigration and divorce, and then we're going to talk about family law divorce, because that's two different divorces from what I hear. Kind of.
Not
Oh,
really.
maybe not. Oh, see,
It
look at that.
just, it just, yeah.
That's
It's
why
not.
we're here. That's why we're here. See? So immigration, you can't get a divorce. Can you get a prenup with an immigration
Yeah.
case?
Yes,
Oh,
you
you
can.
can.
Yeah, you can. It's the same.
Oh,
I mean, can you get a? You're trying. You're talking about when there's immigration
status, like
consequence.
married, got
Yeah,
married.
of course.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, if
really?
that's going to make people feel better, and I have that too. I have clients who, hey, I'm bringing somebody in. Um, I just want to make sure, because I do understand. They understand what could possibly happen. I just want to protect what I have here in the United States. I worked so hard for it, et
Right.
cetera, and they do that.
And does that hold up in court too?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't know
absolutely.
that. Did anyone know that? I didn't think you
I mean, if
could.
it's if you go to an attorney and it's drafted correctly, you can't do it by yourself. Don't chat GPT it.
Oh, Miss Uzo. Okay. I was gonna say, y'all go to ChatGPT. Don't do it. Go
Don't
see
do
a
it.
lawyer. Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know. I really honestly did not know when you're dealing with an immigration, like change of status. Let me say that. A change of status case, you can have a prenup. Okay. So now let's get to the divorce part of it, right? You guys come together, you guys are in love, filed, you're here, has your citizenship, she has her citizenship, and then it doesn't work out anymore. And you're like, you know what? We're still under the 10 years, but it's just not working anymore. What does that look like? What does that look like property wise? What does that look like overall as a divorce? Is there any cons, any pros, or is it treated exactly the same?
It's treated exactly the same. Because remember, you just said they're both citizens now. So
True.
So they're both citizens now. We look at, we're in Texas. So from the date of marriage, we look at what we've acquired during the marriage. And what we've acquired during the marriage is community. That means it needs to be divided in a just and right division. So I have situations, for example, where, and it's usually women that normally they get really upset about this. So they bring their husbands from another country and they've established themselves here. It takes the husband a while to get established. And so during this time, he's doing what he needs to do in order for him to try to do for the family. Let's just say she uses her money to buy, quote unquote, uses her money to buy a house. It doesn't work out and they get divorced. And she just feels like, why do I have to divide up everything that we have acquired during this 10 years of marriage? For the first 3 years, for the first 4 years, he wasn't working, whatever the case may be. And so, but we were married for 10 years
Mhm.
so therefore we need to divide what we have acquired during this marriage for 10 years. Another thing is it takes a while for them to come from Nigeria to the United States. So
Right.
let's just say it took 2 years, 3 years before they're able to come here. But you guys got married. while he was in Nigeria. So
Hmm.
all that property or whatever that's being acquired from the date of marriage, yes, is community.
Oh, so it's not from here. It's not from when they get their actual like green card or
No, it's from the date of marriage.
so how do I now separate what I had prior to marriage and within the last 10 years? I don't remember what I bought 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's your job to do it. Now, if you have a prenup, then it will be very clear for everyone. Just kidding.
Do you believe in prenups?
I do.
Oh, you do.
I
How
do.
many well, I don't know. How many well, I would say how many of your clients actually have prenups? Percentage
Uh,
wise.
I mean, majority of my clients do not have prenups. I
Wow.
think a lot of people are getting more educated with prenups. So I think before our generation, we just feel like, oh, we have to be high earners in order for us to get a
Hmm.
prenup. But I think more and more people, I don't know, social media or whatever the case may be, I think we're normalizing prenups a whole lot better, a whole lot more. I think you're seeing a lot of people in the same situation I was telling you. If you're bringing somebody from out of the country, they are, um, you know, drafting, signing prenups.
But then what's the like so okay, we have a prenup. I can talk a little bit about Texas. I only know this one line is that it's a communal state, right?
Mhm.
Whatever we acquired while together. But if I had a prenup, does that which one trumps what?
It doesn't trump anything. I think your prenup is basically it's you are deciding how you want to divide your property.
Okay.
So if you have, for example, if you have a business during the marriage, you're saying,
Right.
hey, any that business is mine. But in Texas, it's community. So you guys are very intentional as to how to divide your financial assets. You're not, I mean, I think most people always say, well, if you sign a prenup, then you're pretty much stating that or you're planning for your marriage to fail. And I don't think that that's the case. I think that if what you're saying is if my marriage ever ends, this is how we're going to handle the money, this is how we're going to handle the property.
Oh wow. Oh, oh,
I don't okay, there you
okay, there you are. Okay. I want to go back. Oh, I'm coming. I want to go
go.
back to immigration. What has changed now than let's say 3 years ago with immigration?
Everything has changed now. Everything. Tomorrow it would change. Everything has changed. Um, I don't know. I think sometimes I was like anyone that started practicing immigration law during this administration, they will be experts because this is the hardest time to practice
Really?
immigration. Oh, absolutely. I think I've been doing this for four administrations. So Obama, Trump, Biden, and Trump again. This is the
Wow.
hardest. I think this time with the Trump administration, they came very prepared to fight.
Right.
So
So for because I mean I'm hearing the bans. I don't know. I really don't know what that means. Does that mean that someone coming from, let's say, Nigeria, right? Someone coming from Nigeria can't get a visa to come here, even if it's visitation, school. What is the ban? What does the ban mean for us
So,
now?
so let's just say let's talk about Nigeria for example, because they're part of the ban. So that means that if you had a visa prior to January 1st, you're still able to come in and out. If you don't, it's just harder for you. It's a partial ban for that, but it's harder for you to come in. I'm talking about a visit, like as a visitor.
Okay.
Um, if you are, for example, you marry a U.S. citizen. I'm sorry. If you marry a Nigerian national in Nigeria and you're trying to bring them here. Um, right now there's a ban. I tell all my clients people are still applying. You should still apply.
Mhm.
You should still go to your interviews. You should still do everything that you need to do, including even naturalization. But the ban means they cannot make a final decision. So you're just on standstill.
Which can be good if you're here, meaning that you can't leave yet, right?
Not necessarily.
Oh.
Not necessarily. So look at it this way. Let's just say you're adjusting somebody's status here in the United States. You've gone through the entire process. You guys have gone to the interview,
Hmm.
but they can't make a final decision. They can't give them a green card yet. You're
Okay.
just, and it's not like they're giving us any sort of indication as to when this is over. It's just that's it.
This ban is here for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah. I mean, now I know there was a lawsuit that was filed early part of this month. So, I mean, we kind of know there's
Things
going
are
to be a
changing.
lawsuit, there's going to be some sort of injunction, but currently there's nothing that can be done on that end.
So
Still
what if
file.
sorry?
I say no, there's still file for your
Okay.
naturalization, all of those things. It's just they cannot make any final decisions.
So whatever process you're in or your loved one is in, continue. Don't say, oh,
Oh,
because there's a ban, use that to bring on fear. And now you're like, I don't want it anymore. It's more of whatever your process is, continue with that process.
exactly.
How does it work with like your parents? Can you file for your parents? Can you file for, or can parents file for their children? I don't want to say right now, but period.
Mhm.
Is that one of the ways where some people can get their citizenship too?
Yeah.
Or do they have to be a minor?
No, parents can still do it. It just takes a whole lot longer. So we have what we call a visa bulletin. That's a whole
Another
another
deal.
ball. Yeah. We have something called a visa bulletin. It just depends on where you fall. It could take you 10 years. It could take you 20 years. It depends on where you fall.
Wow. Okay. So let's continue on the path of immigration because I really want to understand why people are fearful now. And I want people to
Have you been
understand,
seeing the
like,
news?
yes, however, you've given hope. You've given hope in the sense that whatever your process is, whatever path you're going, don't retract. Don't like stop and say, oh, this is not gonna work. Continue in that path, right? If, for example, someone has a status, they're changing their status, and let's say they've gone through everything and they got some sort of approval, but
Hmm.
never got the green card. Is that possible?
Yes. It could be they're kind of stuck somehow. Because I mean, we're dealing with the federal government.
Right.
Um, I'll have to have more information. But yes, that
Okay.
is possible. I got an approval, but I never got my green card in the mail, or yeah, that's possible.
Okay. Is there a situation where outside of asylum, I can say I want to speak with an immigration judge to plead my case? Let's say I have been here for 15 years. I have not done any crime. I have not done any issues. I am a contribution to the society. I am a medical doctor. I can help with healthcare. Da 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 da. Is there a way for me to say my process is taking too long? And I want to see how I can plead my case to an immigration judge to let them know what service I've already brought and what I have to offer.
So it depends on why your process is taking a long time. You have to have some
Okay.
sort of a process. And if
Okay.
it's outside what we call outside the normal processing time, then you can sue the US government for them to make a decision.
I will not be doing that, but go ahead.
Oh, why? I mean,
How
I
do you
know,
sue the
I
US
know
government?
you sue the US government because they've kept you in limbo.
Oh, but
And
what are
you
the
want,
chances of you winning
oh no,
against the US government?
we've won that. We've won that. It's called a writ of mandamus. We do it all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you're just in limbo, you feel like there's this yo-yo, you're not getting anywhere. You've been here 10, 15 years. You're like, oh, this is approved, but I'm not getting this. And
Yes.
you can actually sue. Oh,
For them to make a decision and not keep you in limbo. I mean,
ouch.
it might be granted or it might be denied. No, a lot of people ask, well, if I sue them, then they're going to deny me. Not necessarily. We're
Right.
just
Yeah.
saying because there's backlog, and sometimes they lose your paperwork, and you need to do
Mm.
something in order for them to actually make a decision on something that's been pending. I mean, I have cases where it's been pending for 7 years. It doesn't make any sense. They're
Right.
way outside of the processing time. And the bad thing about it, now you have to spend money, pay an attorney to sue the government.
Wow. I would be scared, but hey, that's why you get a lawyer. You don't come to me. All right. In one of your posts I saw on your page, you talked about divorce. I want to move to divorce. There's a lot happening. There's a lot of people that I'm seeing on social media that are filing for divorce or going through divorce. And I think your post said kind of like not necessarily how to prepare, but really what you could have done on how to prepare yourself before going through a divorce. If you knew someone was about to go through a divorce, what are some what are some advice that you would give them? They haven't filed yet, but they're thinking about filing. What
Mhm.
are some ways for them to prepare themselves for a divorce? I know that's a long question.
I would say, depending on what's going on. I think divorce is like a death, right?
Right.
Speak to a therapist if you can to prepare yourself, prepare your mind, know how to prepare your kids if you have children. And like I said, it depends on why you're filing. You should, if you think it's going to be something that's very um, kind of contentious, or if, for example, the other party is the high earner,
Mm-hmm.
start taking pictures, start saving documents, kind of know where everything is, or also understand that you kind of need money too to file for divorce, depending on what's going on. Start saving. Talk
Right.
to an attorney, be smart, but it's very specific. It really depends on what's going on. If you have a situation where um, I want custody of the kids,
Mm.
and for the past 6 months, you have, let's just say you're a nurse and you have been working tirelessly, maybe because your husband isn't working, right? Um, think about that before you file,
Mm.
because he could be the status quo, or it looks like he's the status quo. He's the stay-at-home dad. That's what it looks like. Even though sometimes, yeah, I'm the one working, but I still got to make sure the kids are fed. I still got to go to the extracurricular. I still got to do all of these things. But understand that what it looks like is you're working from 9 a.m. or it's to 6 a.m. You're not coming home till 8 p.m.
Mm.
Who's at home? Dad. Might be sleeping, but he's the one at home.
Right.
So just speaking to an attorney, yeah.
I think Chidi I am, I know him, and you know him, said, how many scars must I show to apply for this stuff from an abusive spouse? What proof is required, right? So that's I say I held on to that for like the divorce, for in case someone is filing based on physical abuse or whatever the case may be. Is there, do I have to have a police report? Do I have to have, what do I need to have in order to
I
say?
it's easier. Documentation matters. When people file for divorce, people are accusing each other of different things, right? The more documents you have, the better. The more pictures you have, the more conversation you've had with that person. If there's text messages of that person saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry," or you're like, "I can't believe you did X, Y, and Z to me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened." Just saving all those things. You don't necessarily have to call the police. I think people know most abused spouse don't call the police,
Mhm.
but things like that does matter. And if you are able to prove that you have been in an abusive relationship, when it comes to Texas and community property, you can request for a disproportionate share of the community estate. So that means not 50-50. You could get more.
On everything, because I've heard of people saying, you know what, I'm gonna go after somebody else's 401k, and somebody's like, I like, divorce is like you said, it's a death, and there's a thin line. I think it's super thin between love and hate. Like we loved so hard,
Hmm.
and now it's like two different people. Now we're fighting hard. And now it's like, well, I don't want you to have this stuff, or this is, I worked hard for this. This is my business. I was on that this sleepless night, so I should be entitled. Or this is my house. I don't want you to live here anymore. Like, how does that work? How can you separate like your marriage? How do you, because again, I'm coming from a place of, so many people I know are going through this,
Hmm.
and they're finding out like, oh my God, this is a lot. Like this is war.
Hmm.
And they're saying, no, you need to buy me out of the house. Or there's so much, there are people that are divorced and still living together because they haven't sold the house. Like there's so much going on that I'm like, how do you do this?
Get a prenup.
Oof.
Okay.
Someone someone said when going through a divorce, if one spouse is a higher earner while the other one is out of a job for a certain amount of time, but a divorce has been decided upon, does the higher earner have to take care of that spouse and the way that they're accustomed to? Oh, that's a good question.
So
Because
are they talking about spousal maintenance? So does the higher earner have to give them spousal support? If that's what they're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
it really, once again, I know this is attorney lingo, but it really depends. So I can tell you this: in Texas, a lot of the judges, Texas is very conservative. They're not going to give spousal support at normally they're not going to do that, especially if
Okay.
the community estate does have a significant amount of money. Now, two things you have to prove: first of all, if you've been married for 10 years, are you disabled, you can't
Mhm.
work, or do you have a disabled child? So those are, and why are you not able to meet your reasonable and necessary needs? That means, are you not able to work at Walmart, for example?
Okay.
You have to prove all those things, and it's kind of hard for you to prove it in order for you to have, spousal support.
Right, because I have to show that, and even if it's a disability, when I be on Social Security or get like some assistance,
I
is
mean,
it for?
if they really are on disability, know that depending on what the estate looks like, you might be shelling out some money for spousal support. But once
Really?
again, it depends on what the estate looks like. If
Right.
we have, let's just say, $1 million home, we have a high earner. High earner has, IRAs, 401k, stocks, things like that. They're just going to divide what the community has, and then everyone goes their separate ways. I think the great thing about, well, let me be specific. The great thing about Houston, for example, and its surrounding counties is with family law, you're mandated to go to mediation if there hasn't been any sort of domestic violence. You're mandated to go to mediation prior to what we call temporary orders and prior to final trial. So you guys can go to mediation and try to see if you guys can resolve this yourself.
Okay. So you
Resolve it
have
yourself.
that's step one, or not
Yeah.
step one, but like you have to at least say mediation didn't work,
Yes.
and then you go, oh, okay. Can
Then
I
you go in
just?
front of a judge to have a trial or whatever the case may be. Um, but you do go. I mean, you still go to mediation with an attorney, but
Right.
that's the first step to see if you guys can come to an agreement.
Okay. I mean, I like that because I think for me, when I hear how much someone has worked, and then they feel like the spouse just wants to come in, or at this point they're no longer a spouse, right? Their significant other comes in and just kind of like, well, I'm entitled to half. And that person is like, how? Like, I'm the one that's working, I'm the one that did all this, I'm the one that did this investment, this is all me.
No, it's
And
not you though.
oh,
It's not. We were married for 10 years. We were married for 20 years. You were fine with all of this, or me being a stay-at-home wife or stay-at-home husband. If you didn't like it, you could have gotten out year 3. You could have gotten out year 5. I get it. It's unfair, but we've been married for 20 years. It is
right,
what it is.
right. At that point, I think I've also heard of divorces where they're literally, I would say amicable, but it's almost like, I just want the house.
Yeah.
Take everything else. I don't want to go back and forth, but I just want the house.
Yeah.
And that makes things a little bit easier, right? Because it's kind of like, we don't touch, we're not trying to divide, we're not trying to, say who's worth what. It's just buy me out of the house and you can have the rest. Who? What are some other tips you would give for if someone was watching right now and they're thinking about going through a divorce or filing for divorce and they don't know where to start? They're just kind of like, financially, maybe they're financially stable. Let's say that part, right?
Mhm.
Let's say they're financially stable, but at this point, this marriage is not, is at the point where it doesn't serve either of them and they want to leave and they have kids, right? When there's kids, custody, whatever the case may be, what are some, and or his or her, I don't want to just put it on her, him
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
right? What are some tips that you can give, that you can say, okay, if you're thinking about this, start being prepared for X, Y, and Z that may come your way and what that looks like.
Mm, I think it's the same thing I said before. I think, talking to someone,
Yeah.
whether it's your pastor or a therapist or whatever the case may be. I think that's step one. And then talking to an attorney and saying, hey, this is what I'm thinking about. This is kind of what we have. What can I expect?
Right.
And then, you're very clear as to what you need to do. Um, if, for example, you have a spouse and the spouse can say, I don't know where anything is. You
Right.
know, my husband or my wife, they're the ones that are, you know, they've been the one that kind of takes care of everything financially. So I don't have no idea. We have a joint account. That's where we pay bills. What do I do? How do I start? So in that aspect is kind of taking some time out, looking at the bank accounts,
Hmm.
um, looking in in his wallet and seeing what credit cards that you guys have, what debit cards you guys have, especially if you know this is someone that's going to be hiding things. So taking
Mm.
time out to just make sure you're documenting. So once again, once we file for divorce, there's something called discovery that we do. We discovery, we could file subpoenas, try to get these documents because a lot of times people then start hiding things.
Yeah.
But a lot of times now in 2026, I mean everything's electronic. If
Yep.
you had $20,000 2 weeks ago and you pulled it out or you transferred it, where'd you transfer it to? And if you pulled it out cash, you have to then go in front of a judge and explain exactly what you did with it. And if you can't, there's ways for us to make the other party whole.
So would you? I don't want to give bad advice, but and this is his hers. This is not female dominant or anything like that. Um, would you? Because I think a lot of people sometimes rush to file without doing some what's the word up like research, right? Like this is gonna sound so bad. Like if I'm gonna file in 2028, I'm gonna start removing money in 2026. I'm not moving money in 2028 because, like you said, right? But I think that's where maybe that's bad advice. I'm not a lawyer. Go seek a lawyer. I'm just telling you, Dr. T's common sense, right? It's like so that you can afford a lawyer because y'all ain't cheap. Y'all ain't cheap. So I can't just wake up and go file and I'm moving out of emotion, but actually making sure that I have all my ducks in a row, making
Mhm.
sure that, financially I'm at least reducing how much I'm putting in a joint account to
Mhm.
ensure that I can take care of myself, I can take care of my kids, things like that. How long typically, if we're duking it out, like if the husband and wife are like, nope, I am entitled to more, I don't want to pay spousal support. About how long does a divorce take? Because I
When
know
it's highly
some
contested, average 2 years.
2 years. Oh, that's a
I
long
have had
time.
divorces that lasted 4 years, but when it's highly contested, probably 2 years, 2.5 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
In a divorce, let's say we bought this house together, right? And we're like, you know what? This is where we've lived. I don't want to go. I want to stay in this house because I am emotionally
Time.
attached to this house, but I don't want to be married to you anymore. Can I push him out? Can he push me out? Or what can we do? Does he sell the house to me? Do I buy the house? Like, how do I stay whereas he or she leaves?
So once you file, like I just said, average divorces can take 2 years. But in general, when people file for divorce, of course, emotions are high, things happen. You don't even want that person in your space. So you
Right.
can ask for, once you file for divorce, you can ask for temporary orders. You're asking the court to how it think to make orders as to how things are going to be on a temporary basis till we finalize our divorce. So that means who are the kids going to primarily reside with? Who's going
Mm.
to be living in this house? Who's going to be paying the mortgage? Who's going to be paying what bills? And who's going to be kicked out of the house? So you can go
Mhm.
in front of the court and you can ask them that. Or you guys can go to mediation and also settle. But you can, so that those are the things that the courts are going to make. Those are the decisions the courts are going to make temporarily.
Okay.
And for final, yes, you guys can come to an agreement as to, hey, I love this house. This is how much the house is worth. I want to buy you out. This is a fair amount as to what I'm gonna, pay to buy you out of the house. Or you can also refinance as well, where you're able to pull money out of the equity of the home, and that's how you buy the other person out.
Can
But
I just
sometimes
walk
when
out?
you, what'd you say?
Can I just walk out and say, just figure it like that's your house. Just do what you want to do. And I just start a whole new life.
Yeah, of course. I mean, if I was the wife, I'll say thank you. Go start your own.
Or is the
Thanks for the
debt still
house.
attached to me?
If what is attached to you?
The debt of the house. So let's say now I say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore, and I walk out and I go get my own house and my own whatever, and the
Yeah.
current house goes into foreclosure or whatever. Am I still responsible for this house?
Yes, you are.
Oh,
Your name's on the house. You're
so
very
we're
much
not going nowhere.
responsible.
Okay, so we're gonna be here. Okay.
Yeah.
What about debt that was accrued throughout the marriage? Is that also 50-50?
Yeah, kind of. And yes. Let's just say a just and right. That's why we call it a just and right division. So I'll give you an example of what that looks like. So if, for example, you have a credit card and that credit card has $10,000 in it, and our estate has $100,000. That's how much our estate has. So that means I'm supposed to get 50. You're supposed to get 50, right? But I have this $10,000 card, and I use this card during the marriage. So how do we split it? We know if we get divorced, I'm not going to pay on your credit card because what's going to motivate me to pay? That's under your name.
Right.
So usually what the court's going to say is, okay, you take that $10,000 debt, and then I'll get $55,000, and then you get 45. So that's a just and right division. I
Okay.
personally think Texas is fair.
You think so?
I do. I do think Texas is fair.
I heard that in Texas, you don't even need a reason to get a divorce. Like both
Yeah,
parties
that's
just have
fair.
to, they just
I
have
can
to
wake up
say.
today and say I don't like you. Yes, I still
But
think that's fair.
he also has to agree
No, he doesn't.
to. Oh, he doesn't.
No.
Oh, oh, okay. I heard California. Don't go to California. That's what I heard. I heard stay down south. Don't go to California.
I agree.
Oh, I,
I agree.
I heard women are. Ooh, we paying up the wazoo in California. What about property that are not in the United States of the America?
We can
For
still.
example, am I entitled if I know my spouse has a house in Timbuktu, Timbuktu, and I know of that property? Am I
Mhm.
entitled to that property?
Yes, but Texas doesn't have jurisdiction over the property there. So what you can do, if you can prove to the court this property exists, this is how much the property is worth, then what the court will do is take that because they know they don't have jurisdiction. We'll take that into consideration in dividing your property here in Texas.
Oh, so they will indirectly use it here, but you still technically own the property there, but they can
So what the
finesse
example
it.
I'm using, right, is just going back to our community, is
Right,
basically there's a there's a home in the village. It's it's your husband's land, or
right.
we know it's his. At the end of the day, there's nothing you can do. Whatever they say here, you cannot, that's his, whatever paperwork it says, that's his home. So
Right.
you can tell the court that, and the court will take that into consideration by you saying how much you guys spent on that property or to improve that property, especially if it's in his ancestral home. They'll take that into consideration in dividing the property here because they know that that property is his. Or you have an argument to make and say, no, I can't touch that property. Here's the reasons why. Therefore, I believe that property is worth $100,000. So take that into consideration when you're dividing our property here in Texas.
Okay. Because I hear people fighting over land in other places that are not here, and I'm like, how do you think the courts are going to listen to you? But that's why you
That's
get a
how.
good lawyer who can kind of help you. Okay. Ooh, I promise you, I'm learning a lot. And I think I know this conversation, no one is asking questions, but I know it's gonna help people because our generation, the world right now, a lot of people are leaving their marriages. A lot of people are choosing their spouses. They're like, you know what? I don't need you. I want you. And if you're not meeting up my standards, I'm
Yeah.
gone. And I think we need to be educated on how to do it. Not necessarily women, but women and men. I keep saying that, right? So I'm not discouraged by not having any questions because it's also a taboo in our community and a stigma of like, oh my gosh, she's talking about divorce. Does
Is
that
she
mean that
getting divorced?
is she getting
Is
divorced?
there, of course. So people are not going to ask those questions.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to think of all the questions I know y'all want to ask, so that you can be educated and you're not moving on your own understanding, right?
Mhm.
And you're seeking a professional and you feel comfortable with having these conversations. Do I think people should get a divorce? It depends, right? But I think if you're going to go that route, you should be educated. I think if you go that route, you should know who to talk to, what kind of questions to ask, right? I think that's important. With that being said, when someone is looking for a lawyer, right? Because just like every profession, there are great candidates and there's some that are like, maybe it's
Yeah.
not so much. When looking for a lawyer, whether for immigration, whether for divorce, whether for family, whatever the case may be, what should people look for? Like, what should be some questions they ask? How should they, of course, we do our Google search, we look at
Mhm.
reviews, things like that, right? But I'm sitting one on one with a lawyer. What should I feel? What should I be able to ask? Like, should my lawyer be able to tell me some hidden gems that I did not see on Google? Things like that. What would make me say, yes, I do need a lawyer to help me navigate this part of my life?
I think, okay, so I think for both immigration and family law, I think some of the questions or some of the things that you need to look out for is, do these people have some sort of processes at their office?
Mm,
Is this going to be, what sort of systems do they use? Is it going to be one of those offices where I go in and I'm never able to communicate with the attorney? I'm not able to speak to the paralegals. I'm not able to speak to anyone. I'm not getting any callbacks. Is that our only means of communication? Is that phone? Because I mean, with phone, people are just going to say, "Oh yeah, I'll have the attorney call you back, or I'll have the
right.
paralegal call you back." Where, let me give you an example. In our office, we have a client portal in the office, just like, I know you're a PT, so it's like we answer questions, we upload documents, we take you along the process so you know where we are in that process. You're not by yourself.
Right.
I think communication, I think that's one of the biggest issues people have with attorneys is communication. And sometimes it makes sense, because if you have an attorney, especially if it's a one person or one man's team, if they're always in court, it's kind of
Yeah.
it is a lot more difficult. But at the end of the day, this is my life. I am nervous and I want some clarity. I want to be able to speak to my legal team. So I think that's one thing that you should look out for, is like, hey, how is this gonna, what does this look like, me working with your office? I think that you should also see if it's a good fit as well. I think some people want an attorney that, hey, at my beck and call, do I have your personal number? Do I have, can I text you? Can I text you on Sunday? Can I text you? Some people want that. So, and maybe if you do, I know I'm not the lawyer for you, but there's other people that
Right.
will be able to serve you and give you all, all that attention. So I mean, it's like an interview. When you go in for a
Yeah.
consultation, it's like an interview, and just feel and see if it's a good fit or not.
Can I halfway through be like, you know what? This isn't a good fit. I
Happens
want to
all the
get a.
time. Happens all the time on our end, on your end as well. Um, we fire clients all the time. I mean, sometimes it's not a good fit, and sometimes other clients figure out, what, this was good, but I think I need X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I It happens.
Okay. I mean, I think this has been really, 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 really informational for me. I think I'm quick to be like, get a lawyer. I'm so quick, right? Because I know this world that I grew up in, or this country, is all about laws and rules and regulations, right?
Yeah.
So I believe for every action there's either a consequence or something. So, and I know it's not just what you see on Google. It's much more than that. There are laws that protect you from so many things,
Yeah.
and vice versa. And so I'm a huge proponent of getting a lawyer for a lot of things before you make any decisions. I have a girlfriend that was thinking about going through a divorce, and I brought it to you, and I was like, I can only be a moral support, meaning that I'm going to rock with you, I'm going to drive you, I'm going to be here with you, but I can't tell you this is what you're entitled to.
Yeah.
And so I say, you know what, let's go to Mokolo Law, because and you did. And I and you're right about the fit, right?
Yeah.
I felt like it was a great fit because
Yeah.
everything you ended up saying was literally what she went through.
Yeah.
But I think other people got in her ear, and she was like, "Oh no, let me try this," and it was like, Uzo told us this 6 months ago. We could have just, but I think finding a way for people to know that it's okay to seek information and just have a consultation. Because just because I come and talk to you doesn't mean that now you're taking on my case,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
There's a consultation fee, or there's a consultation process that your office has. That's like, hey, I want to come and talk to you about my case to see if it's a good fit. Again, I'm not promoting everyone should get a divorce, but I do think, or file for somebody from another country to come. But I do think if you're going to go that route, do it the
Yes.
right way, meaning get a lawyer, know your rights, know their rights, so that everyone is on the same page. Get a prenup. I'm a big proponent of prenups. I am. I, I'm like, I had nothing, but I still, now you're telling me you don't need to be a billionaire to have a prenup. If you just have, let's say you're selling popcorn and that's your bread and butter and you want to keep it safe, then do that,
Do that.
get a
Make it
prenup.
clear.
So, any last words, any words of advice, any question, or not question, any input that you may have about immigration or about divorce that you think we should know or we should be knowledgeable about?
Um, I think let's just say immigration, especially with the people from the 75 countries that are banned. Just like I said before, keep filing. I think that it's better for you to be in line than not,
Mm.
than for you not to be. You need some sort of status in this country because if when you're out of status, they could come, they could knock on your door, even if you've never committed a crime. So it's better for you to file something.
So
Not
stay
file
in
something
status.
to stay. Yeah, of course, stay in status and speak to an attorney. Be smart about even your filings because I mean there are people that did not think. For example, they're picking people up at interviews. So just be smart about what you're
Well, how can you
doing.
avoid that?
It depends on what you file when you file.
Okay.
Um, I believe, and I think some of my colleagues do believe that when you don't have an attorney, they target you more. Because remember, ICE officers, they don't care about the fact that, oh no, this person is adjusting their status. They're married to a US citizen. They have no criminal history. In their mind, they're like, hold on, where am I with my quota? I just want to get paid.
Mm,
Where am I with
mm,
my quota? They'll figure it out at the end. You'll be
mm.
fine at the end once you get thrown into immigration proceedings and they're able to hear your case. But you don't even want to spend the money and the time and the headache and all of that in immigration proceedings. So if you can spend the money on an attorney that you trust, because
Right.
there's a lot of attorneys out there that you probably should not be practicing, then I would say yes, make the investment. With divorces, I mean, there are times that you don't need an attorney to file for divorce. For example, if me and my husband, we don't have much, we're on the
Mm.
same page, no kids, no property, nothing. You want to get divorced, fine, we can go to the courthouse and figure it out. No biggie. When you guys don't have an agreement, get you an attorney. At least go for a consultation, see what your rights are. And if it gets contested or highly contested, then, seek help.
I think you said something that sparked something in me. There was a girlfriend of mine telling me about her girlfriend filing, and she thought she thought it was gonna be like, let's go to mediation. It was gonna be nice. We can just talk it out. He showed up with a lawyer, and she did not. And she didn't think, she was like, "There's no, he's not gonna go that route. No, he's not like." She was really like, I know him. I was married to him. And I know that he's not going to get it. And he walked up in there more than prepared. And she was just almost left hanging.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, don't assume, like, once that break has been there, we are
Mhm.
not, I don't want to say enemies, but we're no longer thinking as one. We're
One, we're
now
not.
two.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't underestimate.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Uzo.
Thank you. Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.
I appreciate it. How can people reach out to you if someone was like, you know what, I like what I heard. I want more information. I'm not sure if I need a lawyer or not. What is the best way to contact your office? Where you guys? I know you said you guys have 3 locations. But what does that look like? Do they just call the office, schedule a consultation, or how can they get in touch with you?
Yes, ma'am. They call the office. Our number is 713-784-2906. They can call, schedule a consultation, or they can go on my website, www.mokololaw.com. They can go ahead and schedule their own consultation from the website.
Awesome. Is it just you? What if they're like, I just want Uzo because she look like a beast and she gonna get them in court and I'm ready? Or are you like, no, whoever you get is great, or is it you that they're gonna get? I like to tell my people the truth so that if y'all call Mokolo Law, y'all gonna get.
So right now we have 4 attorneys. So I can be everyone's attorney. So,
But you mine.
uh,
But go ahead.
but I am the principal attorney. We work as a team. So everyone's case, I know what's going on. But it depends. But yeah, it could
Well,
be
I know.
we could be one of our senior attorneys.
I know what that's like. Everyone's gonna say she had Uzo on there, so I'm only going to Uzo. She's
I
that
know.
Uzo, the only one that know. Yes, and her team knows. Thank you so much, Uzo, for taking your time and just sharing your knowledge with us. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of changes happening. But I think having you here and having you as a resource is so great to the community. I think the work that you do speaks for itself. You're staying up to date with research. You're staying up to date with what the different administrations are doing, and I hope and pray that you make more money, but we don't need you that much. I think my prayer just canceled out. But I want to say thank you so much for taking the time to be part of the Health Hub with Dr. T. I hope you enjoyed yourself.
I
I hope it wasn't
did.
too bad because
It
I never
wasn't.
practiced before these things.
Thank you so much for having me. I
Absolutely.
didn't know what to expect, but this wasn't bad. I would love
No.
to come back. We'll talk about business. That's what we always talk about anyways.
Yes, that's you guys.
Women in business and the struggles that we
Yes.
go through.
Yes, Uzo and I talk about, and I think the month of May is I'm doing a small business month. So
Mm,
Uzo is like my kindred spirit. Whenever I just want to lament about being a business owner, we go. It's so funny. We lament together, but then like we adjust our crown and we're
we
like,
have
let's
to.
keep
It
going.
is what
Like
it is. You just adjust and keep it moving.
we adjust and keep it moving. I want to also shout out the Health Hub with Dr. T's first conference that is happening April 18, 2026, in
Oh,
person and
congrats.
virtual.
Oh, wow. Congrats, congrats,
Yes,
congrats.
April 18, 2026. Eventbrite is where you can get tickets. It's on the link of my bio. I'm trying to post it everywhere. Come out. We have so many different professionals that will be there. Uzo is going to be there next year. She just don't know it yet. Because you know me, I plan ahead. But we have so many great speakers coming out this April. So you can go ahead and get tickets on Eventbrite or click on the link in my bio. Thank you so much, Uzo, for
Thank you.
just being amazing and being open and sharing. And people pay for this and giving it out for me for free. So I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you
Thank you
so
for
much.
having me.
Absolutely. If we want to talk more about messy divorce, I'm going to be on TikTok talking about it. So head over to TikTok. Let's talk about how messy some of these divorces could be and why we should
They
have gotten Uzo as our lawyer.
can get very messy. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Have a blessed evening, everyone. God
Bye.
bless. Thank you,
Thank you,
Uzo.
guys. Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
good one. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.